Bad news is we had to take the transmission out from under the car, and that, even though that wasn't as difficult as I thought it would be, it's kind of a pain that we've had to take it out after rebuilding it and getting it mounted and installed. We've actually had an issue with the yoke that goes from the transmission or connects the transmission to the drive shaft. Get this out of here. So initially we thought there might be a burr inside the yoke in the splines because it wasn't sliding into the tail shaft of the transmission like it's supposed to. But once we got everything apart, we were able to test it here. Once I find the little place where it lines up right. There we go. And that slides on just fine. The issue is with the bearing that was in the tail shaft. This piece right here, it goes along this ring inside here, and then the tail shaft slides down in between or inside this bearing. Now, we've already taken this out, so I can't really show you what it was doing, but I guess I can give you kind of an example with this other side of it. See, it's not going down in that bearing. It's stopping. And that's the issue we're having. We talked to a few people that we know that build transmissions and engines. One guy that my dad grew up with does a lot of racing and drag racing, and he does all kinds of stuff like this. And he said that there's a pretty good chance that the bearing is just the incorrect size. Apparently, with rebuild kits being aftermarket, a lot of times they'll put an incorrect size bearing in the rebuild kit because obviously these aren't factory. They don't make these Muncie transmissions anymore. So we're looking at getting a new bearing. Gonna try to make sure we order one that is the proper size, so when we get it in, we'll have the right one. And this time, before we actually install it in the transmission, we're gonna just test it and make sure the yoke will slide down in it before getting everything put back together. So hopefully this won't be a big deal to redo, but it is still a pain that we've had to do it. I really enjoyed knowing that the transmission and everything was already mounted under the car and connected. Even, well, the drive shaft wasn't connected, but you know what I mean, connected to the bell housing, engine, everything like that. So I feel like we're just taking kind of a step back here when we were making some progress, but it's got to be done right. If the yoke's not going to go in the transmission, there's not going to be a drive shaft connected, so you can't drive the car. So we had to do it. We're just going to go ahead and get these orders placed. This order placed. And what I'll do is fast forward the video. Well, fast forward. I'll basically just skip to when we are putting everything back together, when we've got the new bearing in, and show you that everything's working the way it should. And that'll be the next part of this video. So I'm going to cut out right here and skip ahead in time a little bit. And the transmission is back together. We were able to get a new bearing that goes down in there, and the yoke now fits. Sorry, I didn't quite have the camera up right there, but you can see clearly that the yoke goes down in there properly. And just gotta take it out. Got all the linkages hooked back up. We've also added this little plug that was not here previously. This had a TCS switch on it, but TCS switch the only purpose it really serves is to reduce throttle response for the low gears to help reduce emissions on the vehicle. And this is an American muscle car. Reduced throttle response is not something we're looking for. So we took the TCS switch out because we didn't just want to leave it in, which is what we were originally going to do. When we found this plug, we were like, we're just going to put that in there. And that looks a lot better than having that switch just sitting there. And now it's time to reinstall the transmission back under the car, get it remounted to the bell housing, and get the support beam across from one side of the frame to the other, mounted under it. And hopefully that'll be the end of the transmission work, and we'll have everything set and ready to go for that from now on. The transmission is back in the car, and I pray and I hope that we do not have to take it out again. After installing it twice, really don't want to go through that a third time. But we should be good. It looks good. I think it works now. Yoke goes in and out like it's supposed to. Fingers crossed. Transmission's done. Can move on and be done with it. All right. Well, that's it for this video. This was just a transmission update with that issue we were having and the rebuild and the fix. So thanks for watching. Hope you all liked it. Maybe if y'all run into an issue like that, then you'll have an idea of where to start or something that maybe this can help you if you're having some sort of issues with your transmission. So yeah, hope you liked it. Maybe you learned something. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Leave some comments down below. Southpaw Garage, signing out.